Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're watching this video from and when. My name is Denise Belisle, and I'm a serenity expert and positive intelligence specialist. I'm super excited to have this show today, which is Lucas. It's all good. Luke is here for a chat. And every Monday I come here at noon on Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitters, and I post that in YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube also. And I invite some amazing guests to come and chat with me and give you lots of values about who they are, what they do. And these guests are very dear to my heart, and I'm always super excited to introduce these wonderful people to you. Today, my guest is Monica Henderson, and she's a genius activator. Have you ever met a genius activator? You will today, and you'll remember her for the rest of your life. And we'll talk about activating your zone of genius. But before we go a little bit further, I want to explain what is this show and how that works and why it's called It's All Good. Luke is here for a chat. It's part of the way I think, my philosophy and the way I think, because life has to be lived fully and all the time. And when we worry about things of the past and things that happened even 5 seconds ago, and then you stay in a state of anger or worry or resentment, regardless of what happened, it could be 5 years ago. I've met people that are still upset with things that happened 10, 20 years ago. You gotta let go and live today and say it's all good. And what about worrying about things for tomorrow or the next week or the week after or the month of 2 years from now? It's like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to my life when I retired in 3 years? It's not, there's no point worrying about it. You can plan, you can work on it, but worrying doesn't help. So that's why it's all good. That's my favorite cup. And I love, that's what the name of the show came as I was drinking I usually drink water. See, that's water. I usually drink water on the morning, on a Saturday morning. I was like, how am I going to call this show? And then here we go. It's all good. And so my guest today, and what I would like to invite you is to like, share, comment, if you're on YouTube, subscribe, do everything you have to do to keep in touch, because I always bring great value to you with my guest and with everything that I do, I hope, anyway. So let's talk about Monica. She's an amazing woman. She's the founder and creator of MinkLife Motivation. She's a genius activator, as I said earlier, a global event of media and producer. She's a motivational speaker and host of the Mink Life Motivation Live, and that happened, I think, a couple times a week. We'll talk about that. An author and a visionary of Manifesto book series, Philanthropist and Socialite. My goodness, you'll get a gem out of getting to know her. So without any further ado, let's bring her on. Monica, welcome to the It's All Good show. Look who's here for a chat.
So happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on your platform.
You're very welcome. It's an honor to have you here. So please, Monica, expand on what I said, because there's so much. Like, what is a genius activator? First of all, explain what that is, because it's very intriguing.
Yeah, so at MinkLife Motivation, I really support thought leaders, change makers, coaches, and experts to do what they do best, which is change the world from their own specific zone of genius. And sometimes when people come into my world, they have kind of the pieces of what they want to do, but it really takes kind of a village to build a business and to build the true vision of what someone wants. And so a lot of the times when they come in, we all collaboratively communicate about like, oh, this is great, and you should add this and you should add that. Well, recently, I have been giving people new names because I got tired of hearing a business coach or name, or life coach or,
It's
branding
generic. It's like
expert.
everybody does that, right?
So general. And so I had been deciding, you know what, we don't have to put you in that box. You're so much more unique, so much more special than that. Let's find something that speaks directly to who you are and how you're changing the world. And so I started giving everyone new names. Names like the follow-up fortune finder or a joy trainer or the was the brand alchemist, right? Like just really names that kind of embody what each person is. And I got to the point where I was like redoing my own bio so I can kind of get out and start speaking again. And I was like, hey, mine says business consultant. How am I
That's
giving
not original.
right? How am I giving everyone else original names and I'm walking around with business consultant? So I asked my community if they would, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
How do I help you? And they actually named me the Genius Activator. Apparently, just being kind of in my creative space allows them to step into their creative space and really tapping into what they do best. And so I was dubbed the Genius Activator.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that. And you are like, I've been working with Monica since last beginning of the year, actually. It's coming to 6 months.
Yes, yes,
And we've walked so many miles side by side on the
yes.
virtual world together since then. And I got to know Monica a little bit more every time we contribute and we work together. And she, for what I can say from her is she wants you to succeed. She wants the people she work with to succeed, and she elevates people around her. So if you feel a little bit down and nobody loves you, hook up with Monica, because she will show you the way to activate yourself and to raise yourself to a level you never thought possible. And that's one characteristic that I really appreciate about you, Monica, is that you really are a genius. And to activate us, it's almost like she found a button in the people she work with and say, activate. You know? It's almost a start button. She knows what we need to do and how to do it, and she push us and she elevates us. So that's really amazing.
Yeah,
So
I love the way I look in your eyes. Thank you so much for that.
you're very welcome. And tell me a little bit more about MinkLife motivations. How did that come about to be?
Oh my gosh. So it was an accident in how it is now. I was not intending to create an entire ecosystem to support thought leaders, change makers, coaches, and experts. I really kind of wanted to kind of stay true to a promise I had made for myself when I was 28. So when I was 28, I had kind of redesigned my life, and I decided that I was going to step into what I would call a full oak tree experience. I had been living an acorn life, and I wanted to go into this
Mhm.
big version of myself. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
I stepped into that and accidentally challenged myself to scale. And at the time, I didn't know that, but I said I only wanted to work hard for money for 10 years, and then after that, I was going to work for my soul's purpose. And I was going to, it didn't matter if money came along with it or not. I was only going to focus on changing the world for the better after
Mhm.
10 years worth of working hard. And Father Time tapped me on my shoulder, said, hey, girl, what happened? 10 years have passed. What's going on? You're not ready. And so I decided to bottle what I did well and license it. And then I thought I was going to launch it. A pandemic happened that made me shift or flow into a different
Yeah,
direction, which launched the global virtual conferences. Those then allowed me to launch my licensing program and to the training system that is really about activating the vision and the genius within each person, and being in collaboration with each other, allowed us to create a co-working space to support each other 6 days a week. And then to make sure that all that worked well, we ended up with an online community that has an app so that we can communicate to each other. So most of the pieces of what I've built have been accidental.
yeah.
Kind of like unfolded into what it is, but now it is the most beautiful community of amazing people who really want to change the world. And they always say, if you don't like the world, build it, or like if you want change in the world, be the change you seek.
Yeah.
And this particular group of people at Mink Life Motivation are those people that you want. You've always wanted your neighborhood to look like. You've always wanted your friend group to look like, where they just love on you no matter what and support you. And they're human, they're real, and they offer real help. None of this like, oh, well, you got to buy my course in order for me to talk to you, but like real support. And so
Mhm.
what we're offering at MinkLife Motivation. I like to call it a business hug, right? It's like that just that much needed hug when you're in business. Sometimes it feels lonely,
Mhm.
and this community is that hug you need to say it's okay, you got this, you can keep going, we'll support you through it. And so that's exactly what Mink Life Motivation is.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a really cool. And I have experienced that experience that she's talking about. And they have like almost like co-working office online, right? And I think that's super amazing. You can go into your own little cubicle if you want, or you can be in the main room with everybody else, and you can invite people to meeting in that little workspace. It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. So we'll talk about how you can be part of that as we move on, but we're definitely going to tell people how they can join you with that. But what I'm intrigued into, and we just had last week an event in Sydney that allows us to talk to people all around the world, and especially on the time zone of Sydney. And you do this event quite regularly. I think it was the 15th that we just did.
The 13th, yeah.
13th.
The
And you have
14th.
another one coming up.
Yeah, in a week and a half, we have another one for Johannesburg time zone. And, the concept of the conference came out of the pandemic happening and me listening to what our leaders who were supposed to be leading us through this really troubling time, what they were saying. And it was lack and limitation and really kind of just more adding more fuel to the flame of chaos, right? And I kept thinking to myself, this is not what we need right now. Like when something is happening to children, parents don't go, oh my gosh, it's going to be horrible, it's going to be hard for the rest of your life. Like no one does that when you want people to stay calm and collected
Mm.
and move forward through something and like minimize trauma. But that was what our leaders were doing. And so for me, it was like get I need to get the word out that this is okay, that it's a great time in our lives. Actually, it's probably the best time in our lives, even though no one is saying that. And I needed other people to do that. And so I put a post out on Facebook saying, calling all dynamic speakers. If you're a change maker, a coach, a thought leader, your voice is needed right now. And those speakers heard that call, and the conferences themselves came from this space of how do we support each other through this pandemic. And we called the first one the New Normal Conference. And we moved then it from being the New Normal Conference to what's next, because what happened in that actual event was we found community, we found hope, we found the ability to move forward, and we found actionable steps on how to do that. It wasn't just talking head motivation for the sake of motivation, but it was like, oh, I can take that little step and change my life a little bit, or I can take that little step and get more sales, or I can take this next step and really kind of change my mindset about something that I had thought was impossible. And we were able to do that for each other as we were teaching each other, and also be able to learn from each other. So those conferences came organically through this pandemic. And then we decided, because we had so many entrepreneurs from all over the world participating at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 1 a.m. And so we thought, well, why not open it up to different time zones so that everyone in the world can participate? So we have a truly global community that actually interacts on a regular basis and feels like family. And because of these conferences, that we call them our community events, and all of our community members get to showcase how brilliant they really are. I mean, we really do get to hang out with some really brilliant people, and some of them best kept secrets, right? But through the conference of getting to know each other and sharing on the panel discussions in our very quirky networking lunch, we're able to kind of build those strong relationships and learn from each other, and then also use each other's services, because now we know the person to help us
Yeah.
fix the problem we have in our businesses.
Yeah, yeah. During those events, you have like panels where you get to know three people, depending on the size of the panel. And that, I got to admit, like last week we had it, and I was a speaker, and I was a panelist, and I was a leader also out of participated fully into the event. It was from 4 p.m. Pacific to 11 p.m. Pacific. And for me, like 9 o'clock is my bedtime. I was like, well, I don't know if I can last that long, but then even on, the last day, I was like, I want to go to bed, but I can't, like I was engulfed by the knowledge that I was gaining, and the participation of the people that were there and everything. So, and now Johannesburg is coming. So what is the time and the Johannesburg?
Yeah, so Johannesburg is 9 to 4 Johannesburg time, which for those of us in Pacific, that is basically either a really early morning or an extremely late night, as it starts at midnight for us.
Pacific
Uh,
time.
Pacific time, yes. And then it goes, but the beautiful part is it's over by 7 a.m., I think is what it is. I think it's 12 to 7. And so you can either have a full day after that of recovery and rest so that you can pop in the next day, or you can kind of work a little bit more and then have a really early evening. And so
Hmm.
there are
Hmm.
some ways I always pretend that that my sleep the night before is getting on an airplane
Yeah,
to
yeah,
this
yeah.
weekend. And then that makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more palatable for me to deal with the different time zones. This one will be interesting because it's neither here nor there for me. So Sydney is hard because I'm an early bird, and 4 a.m., 3 a.m. is easy.
Yeah.
Midnight feels like like not night, not morning. So
In between.
it is happening in between. But when we did London, and that one started at 1, that one actually ended up being my favorite time zone.
Mm.
My brain seemed to love that one, and so you
It
never
just
know.
was ready at the time. But if you live in that area, if you live in Europe, these are best time for you. So
Yes.
if you're watching this from Europe, and I invite you to communicate with Monica and attend that event, we'll have links for you, how to register, and or just be in touch with me, because you will be able to join and participate into the event, because it's very interactive. We have, you have the panelists, but then afterwards, when we have the breakout, then you select whomever you want to go with.
Hmm.
And because there's different topic, different speakers, and then within that group it's interactive. And when we do the lunch break, this is amazing. We do some games, and then you get to participate and get to be known as an individual, and not just that business person that,
Hmm.
behind your 1 minute speech, and all that.
Yeah, I have essentially at this point done 13 of these conferences. And what I will tell you is there's no such thing as two conferences that are the same. We talk about the same 24 subjects. Uh,
Hmm.
6 topics in life, 6 topics in business, 6 topics in branding, and 6 topics in networking. And the questions don't change, which is intriguing to me because you think if I ask the same questions, I'm going to get the same answers, but they don't. The
Hmm.
caliber of speaker and the speakers who are involved in each conference is a different combination, and they tend to work off of each other.
Yeah.
And so, where someone may have thought they were going to answer a question a certain way, when someone else answers their question, that takes them down a completely different rabbit hole. So, I liken it to if you could have all of the great world thinkers that have changed things in the past sitting around the table and they're pondering life. Uh, what kind of interesting weirdness would come from that? And I think this is kind of what these conferences are, because each of our speakers are able to kind of dive down a rabbit hole and alter and kind of play in each other's worlds. And
Yeah.
they're all coming from different perspectives, different countries, different genders, different regions, different language,
Yeah.
first languages, cultures. All of those things are so different for each of them. The perspectives are so innovative and new. And I've never heard the same answer twice, given the same way twice. I've always gotten a new perspective from each of the conferences. And so they're so much fun.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, because also it's the old saying that we never bathe twice in the same water, right? In
It's
the
true.
river. It's like, because we change, from one to the other. Mind you, this one's very pretty close to one another, from one event to the other. Let's say you attend only once a year, you would have changed in that year, and the answer to the question that are being asked, and then you have access to recording and all that. But you're different, you think differently, you're at the different place in your business, so in your life you don't have to be a business person to go there, because it encompasses so much about life. That's why it's called MinkLife motivation, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's about all area of your life.
Yeah, when I thought about what I wanted to contribute to the world, I did want it to be completely holistic, right?
Hmm.
Because I'm a business person, yes, but I'm also a mother, and I'm also a wife and a daughter and a sister, and a friend, and and I have my own likes, wants, needs, desires outside of those labels as well. And so yes, I am a business owner, and yes, I do something for to change the world. But I am also all these other things as well. And so we wanted to make sure that when we were looking at these four topics, that they encompass everything that you would have to encounter in life. Not necessarily going down into the niche of it, right? Like, so there are conferences that talk specifically about trauma, or there are conferences that talk specifically um, about a particular portion of marketing, right?
Yeah.
But the overarching conversation that we have over the course of those days, you see yourself fully. You see how you're showing up, not just in your life, but in your business, and how other people see you, or what other perspectives people are seeing from your branding standpoint, and like how you're actually connecting with people, and maybe some of the things that you can do differently in that. And you were saying like, well, these two conferences are coming close together, so they may be similar. And I'm thinking, well, we spent two days together learning so much that I think by the time we get to the next conference, we have that much more information to bring to this new set
Yeah,
of people, because we've already
absolutely.
started to influence each other. So
And then
it's
also we've learned something in the first part. It's almost like a revision, okay,
yes,
let's go deeper now,
yes,
let's
let's
go,
go deeper.
because it
Exactly.
goes fast, and that's why we want to go back into the platform that you're offering. And once you register, you can get into that platform, and you can rewatch your favorite parts,
Yes,
and you can redo the exercise at a slower pace, and you can just be part
yes.
of this whole program. And I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's that's why we call it an ecosystem, right? A lot of conferences that you will come, you will get motivated, you'll have a notebook full of notes that you've written, like, oh, this is good, I'm going to do this, and the tips are so amazing, right? And then you finish the conference, you close your notebook, you walk away, and it's there. It's just sitting there until the next time that you look at that notebook when you're getting ready to go to another conference to learn something new. And you're like,
Mm.
oh, I did nothing. And this ecosystem, the reason why we have the online community that is private, it's just us, who are supporting each other through trying to change the world, and trying to make a difference in our own lives, um, is because the conference is the starting point, right? You can't learn something and be like, okay, I got it, I'm good. You have to go back and revisit it. You have to go
Yeah.
back and talk to other people who've experienced it. And we really wanted to make sure that that wasn't the end point of the experience, but more the beginning, the starting point of an experience. And so we always invite everyone to come in and watch the replays. And now we have 8 or 9 different conference videos in there. So
Yeah.
you have the same subject has about 8 or 9 different videos that you can watch on that one subject, from different speakers from different conferences, and all the panel discussions. So there's plenty, hours and hours and hours of entertainment in
Yeah.
that. But then you can connect directly with all the members in the community as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
forget Netflix, go and make like motivation.
Mink Life and Chill. I think I should get a shirt that says that. Oh
So tell
yeah.
me a little bit about your live shows that you're doing yourself, like a couple times a week.
Yeah. So originally, I was having these awesome conversations during the early parts of the pandemic, and I was like, man, these people are so cool, so cool. And the conversation I'm having right now is so entertaining. I think other people should hear this. I'm an introvert, super scared, super scared of being on camera. But I know that as an introvert, in order for you to eat, in order for you to do anything worthwhile, you have to talk to people. No one's going to find you in your living room and hand you money. And so my partner, Andrea Gwertz, and I were sitting down. We're like, how do we have these conversations publicly? So that other people can engage and they can know that we're literally hanging out with some of the coolest people on earth. But other people don't know that they're cool. And also, like just this a fun way to bring it. And so we decided in, I think it was September of 2020, that we were going to start having conversations out loud and live stream them directly to Facebook. And then we would repost them in other places. And of course, now technology is so we can go live on
Once
3
and
different
go everywhere,
platforms
like
at
we are
one time.
now.
Yeah,
We're on 9
exactly.
platforms right now. So there's 9 spaces at the same time where people can listen to us, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And so we decided we were going to do that, and we cycled through the same 24 topics that we cover in the conferences, one topic at a time per week, and then after having created the space and creating the show and really kind of tapping into this global community, I thought I want to move off of the platform myself and allow more for my community members, more opportunities for them to share their expertise. And so this season we're in our 3rd season of the show, and we have revamped it. So now community members are actually co-hosts. And the
Yep.
4 of us who were on 3 of us who were on the show before as the co-host with 1 extra guest, we actually split our time. And so now you get 4 shows with 4 different moderators and many different co-hosts and many different guests, so that we have that same magic that happens in our conferences with those
Yes.
conversations
Yes.
now being had in open forum on our live show. And so that has been super fun. And we have so much engagement with people who are watching the show. We drop their comments right on the screen so that they can see them. And we laugh a lot. Think The View, if I don't know if you're familiar with The View, but The View without any of the politics, the celebrities, or the fashion. Just the stuff that's really important to us as business owners.
Yeah.
We, pursue life, love, and the pursuit of our dreams, and how we kind of get that healthy, wealthy, fulfilled life.
Wow. Yeah. These are good shows for sure. And people can see that in your Facebook platform. We'll share a few places in the chat of how people can find you, where can they watch those shows, and
Yeah, even if you just hit MinkLife Motivation Live, it will pop up really easy on your Google, and you can watch it on YouTube, you can watch it on LinkedIn, or you can watch it in Facebook. And all of our guests and co-hosts are live streaming to their platforms as well.
yes.
So if you see someone, in one of the promos, you can do that. But you can also go to MinkLife Motivation MinkLifeMotivation.com/live, and you can see all of the platforms that were there, and also become a guest on the show, because we're always looking for amazing people who are interested in sharing their expertise.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I think there's a lot of potential for a lot of people in here, that's for sure.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit. Let's explore. We have the Monica, the businesswoman and the entrepreneur and the activators, and but let's go into Monica, the person. So
Mm-hmm.
who is Monica? So what has Monica been doing herself as an individual? Like, who are you? You're a mother. You're a
I
mother.
I am. I always say I'm 6 things, right? So the first thing is I am a woman of faith. And what I mean by faith is not like a denomination or a particular concept of religion, but more so a woman that believes that the universe conspires for my good. Everything happens in divine timing. And my job, my purpose is to take whatever gifts, talents, and anything that I have as far as a resource for myself, and share it with the world for the betterment of humanity. And so when I say I'm a woman of faith, I do that in extreme faith. right? That it's all gonna work out the way it's supposed to. Exactly.
It's all
It's
good.
all good. It literally is all good. Like, I
It
love that
is.
that's
I
the name
know.
of the
I
show,
believe
is
that.
because even when it's bad, it's still good. And
Yeah,
I
because
know
we always learn from that, right?
that is my favorite place to learn. And I always say that I am really good at failing. Failing is like my superpower. I fail all the time, and I'm sure other people fail all the time too. I enjoy the failures because they get me faster to success, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when something goes wrong, I'm like, awesome, now I know what to fix, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh my gosh, it went wrong. It's like, oh no, it gave me exactly where to go to. So, I enjoy that. But I am people think I only think about business all the time, but I don't. I watch a lot of television. I just have a really good DVR game. And I watch all kinds of things, from really hallmarky, like One Calls the Heart, all the way to sci-fi, to just different, just anything and everything that is interesting. I watch a lot of TV, and I exercise and hang out
So
with my
yeah.
family.
So you have a daughter.
I do. I have a 14-year-old who is already, baked, I think. I'm in the mentoring phase of parenting. And I spend a lot of time with my nieces and nephews. And so I'm also an auntie mom, is what I call myself. My brothers and we all share children. And so I spend a lot of time co-parenting with my siblings, all
Wonderful.
of our children. And I'm a wife, and I have an amazing husband who is incredibly awesome and supportive. And he does real estate here in Los Angeles and provides us with so much entertaining entertainment as far as industry events. We get to do really cool things because he's a realtor here. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like penthouse showings, and like when they open new buildings, we get to go to like uh,
Nice,
the
nice.
fancy things. So I get to be a trophy wife on those, and it's really fun to just kind of show up, be cute, and eat hors d'oeuvres.
And drink the champagne, you know?
Drink the champagne and all of that. And yeah, and we live in downtown Los Angeles, so our neighborhood is its own character in our lives. It lives, breathes nonstop, and I love it here. It really is my home, my home, even though my hometown is a few miles down the road here in California.
Because living in downtown LA, it's busy, you know? It's all
Yeah,
that you can imagine being downtown
all the
LA.
kinds of busy, all the kinds
There's never
of
a dull
busy.
moment.
No, never a dull moment. This pandemic, it did hurt us just like it hurt everyone else, and there were parts of the city that kind of died off a bit because um, there wasn't
Business
enough
going around.
business. But it's starting to come back a little bit. We see it's like a sapling again, right, where the little leaves are starting to pop up, and
Yeah,
I in the next year or so it'll be full again. But the shows have come back, and museums are open again, and restaurants are open again, and some other venues are also open. So it's really starting to vibe and be awesome again. So
wonderful.
yeah, I'm excited to do all the festivals and all of the things that usually happen here.
Yeah, hopefully this summer should be a really good summer. Like same here in Vancouver, right? We usually have like a lot of festivals in the summer, a lot of activity outdoor, the jazz festival, the folks festivals, and
Yeah.
more. And but when it's COVID, people don't get together. Like I'm going to a concert on the 18 outdoor concert, and there'll be hundreds and hundreds of people. It'll be like, ooh, you know, people.
Yeah, and I love seeing people interacting with each other. I am naturally a wallflower. I know most people will not not really expect that from me because I'm literally everywhere on television, or like on these platforms a lot, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're so outgoing," and I'm not. I'm an introvert, but I enjoy watching people. I
Hmm.
should have been a sociology major because the it just sparks my creativity and curiosity when I watch people interact.
Yeah,
And so to see them interact in real life again has been fun and interesting and curious for sure.
super cool. That's awesome. So let me ask you, so how people now have been listening to you for 35 minutes and they're
Yes.
intrigued. You say, okay, I want to know more about Monica. I want to be involved in her life. How can they be part of Monica and Monica's ecosystem that is growing and growing and growing? So how can
Absolutely.
people reach you?
So if you're just curious about me, or if you're interested in kind of uh, partnering in some way, you can always go to monicahhenderson.com, my name, just like it's on the screen.com, and book some time on my calendar. And that will really get you an opportunity to, uh, for me to get to know you. I love learning about people and what they do. And that is essentially how I'm able to kind of tap into their zone of genius and
Hmm.
figure out ways that we can co-conspire to take over the world, to make it a better place. And so MonicaMHenderson.com is a great way to just connect with me, and schedule a 20-minute connect call. And if you're curious about anything MinkLife, you can go to MinkLife Motivation, and there we'll offshoot you to all the different places, from the courses that we offer, to the conferences that we're hosting, and some of these other things like our e-magazine and our live show and podcast and all the other things that we have going on to support
So
our
much.
members and to support people's growth. Because it is your birthright to live healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled. And we're going to figure out all the ways we can help you do that. So,
She will activate you. And if you feel you're already activated, watch out. There's a second level and a third level. She'll rebrand you and push you to the stars.
recently I was like, it's so funny. Every time someone comes in and they tell me what they do, I'm like, no, that's not what you do. You do this. And I give them a new name. And then I realized, just like any good tribe, you have to have a tribal name. And so I think what we're doing is, when people come into our tribe, we're giving them their tribal
Mhm.
incarnation. In and I,
Like
I
their
just
potential. Like it's almost seeing what's their potential and what can become out of them. And once you identify yourself with that potential, like me,
Mhm.
serenity expert, once I identify myself as a serenity expert, then that's what I embody. That's what
Yeah,
I become a serenity expert.
yeah.
I
It's like
who serenity.
finding your soul's name, right? Like, your soul wants serenity to happen. And so you are going to be an expert in finding all the ways to provide serenity for people, right?
Mhm.
And when I was 12, the word that I had strongly identified with was muse. I really wanted to be a muse when I got older. I wanted to inspire the next person who's going to change the world for good. And really, Genius Activator is just a new incarnation of that word.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
ability to, like, soulfully tap into someone and say, "This is who you are," and the world should know it. And so, yes, I
Awesome.
get to do I get to do what I love every day. It's amazing.
Wonderful. So we'll put the information in the chat of how to reach you and how
Yes,
people can get in touch with you if they want to go to the Johannesburg event. It's a
yes.
paid event, and are you inviting them?
I'm inviting anyone and everyone who feels like, you know what, I need a business hug. I need to be around people who will just inspire me to be better, to get me motivated, to keep me inspired, to get me connected and networked, and to share their knowledge. If those things are important to you, which is what Mink stands for, then this conference is the place for you. You have never experienced a conference like this. I can guarantee it, unless you've been to one of our other ones. And you will come away with actionable plan to do what you need to do next, guaranteed. And you will have the strangest new friends from all over the world. That also, that
And that's some of the best part.
is some of the best parts.
Don't miss the lunch part, you know?
The lunch is the best. I think sometimes people duck out on the lunch thinking like, oh, they're just going to do regular networking. No, do not do regular networking.
All
Um,
right. That's awesome. So thank you so much, Monica. It was such an honor to have you here today.
Thank you.
And because I'm a early bird and a morning person and a day person, I'm not sure I'm going to attend Johannesburg because it's really not in my schedule, and that will throw me off for a week. And at the same time, I can always watch the replay. So so make sure you sign up, even if you think like me that I'm never going to go to conference from midnight to 7 in the morning. But sign up and go into
Yeah.
the
And what I say
platform where
is
the replays are.
join when you wake up. So if you're an early bird and you might get up at like 5 or 6, pop on 5 or 6 and get the
Yeah, I
last.
can have the last couple of hours. There's still lots of values. It's all
Oh my
full
God.
packed of value and information for sure.
Yep. So just go to minklifemotivation.com or nextglobalvirtualconference.com. Either one of those will get you there. And get your ticket. It's only $49, and that includes a month membership to our community. So you'll get a hug for a whole month. So
Woo!
worth it.
So worth it. All right, I'll put you on the side for a minute, and I'll be closing this meeting. So thank you, Monica. Wasn't that amazing? I think it was a gem of the gem, Monica Henderson. So make sure you connect with Monica. I'll put all the information in the chat or in the show notes. And I invite you to connect with Monica. Go see what she has to offer. If you feel like you'd love to grow yourself, you want to be activated, she'll find your push button activated, and then you'll blossom and you'll grow into your life, into your business, in all area. You don't have to be a business person to work with Monica, because she will find ways to activate you and to make you grow and change your life forever. So again, thank you for being here. I'll be here next week at noon time. And if you're watching this on replay, thank you. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and you click the little bell in order to be notified whenever I'm having next live shows. Until next time, be kind to one another, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.